Hello and welcome to Godwin's Cabalistic Encyclopedia. I'm going to read entries from this randomly. But first, I want to share something I just thought of that has nothing to do with that. You know the Trix Rabbit, the mascot for Trix, the fruity Trix cereal that's supposed to be all flaky flaky fruits, stuff like that. It's flakes of fruit. You know how he's not supposed to have the cereal, like that he keeps on like trying to get Trix, and they're like, the Trix is for kids. Well, like I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 81, and there was actually a series of commercials where the Trix Rabbit actually you got to vote whether the Trix Rabbit got the tricks. Like you children were able to send in votes. I don't remember if it was a phone vote. This is like back whenever 900 numbers were just becoming a thing, or if it was like postcard, send in a postcard type of vote. Probably it was postcard from the cereal, like address on the back of the box of cereal or something. But we got to vote whether the Trix Rabbit got to eat or not. Is that not like kind of dark? Like, I think that he flat out just deserves the Trix. They should give him a big bowl of Trix every morning just for doing that job. He sells so many boxes of Trix cereal, and they won't let him have any. And then they make kids vote on whether he gets to have some. This is not a matter of democracy. This is a matter of justice. Give that Trix Rabbit his cereal. So that was really important to get off my chest before I started out the Cabalistic Encyclopedia. We're gonna go forward from here. Just give me a moment to kind of clear my throat. I mean, I hope it instilled in the children a strong sense of democracy when they got to vote on the Trix Rabbit eating. All right, Lowen's Sourcebook series, because it always comes back to Lowen, right? Godwin's Cabalistic Encyclopedia. Complete Guidance to Both Practical and Esoteric Applications by David Godwin. Third edition, enlarged and revised. Here's the spine. You can't see it. There you go. Here's the cover in case you didn't get a chance to look at it. It's a good sized reference. I mean, this is the size of my this is the same size as my Book of Agrippa. And it's probably more useful. I'm sorry, but Agrippa is really repetitive. I think that the actual information in Agrippa is applicable to certain stuff, but like it takes a while to reach it sometimes. So let's see. Random. Raflifu, the guardian of the 30th tunnel of Set. The Coptic form is Ra-Gioslahad Naimawaist. The key is D. The colors are raid, red, and amber, and the associated disease is depletion. Oh, Tunnels of Set. That's what this is. And I was like, what's that from? Rahadetz, angel of second decanate of Cancer. Rigardi gives the Hebrew spelling as thusly. I'm not going to read out the letters here. Ra-Hor, Ra-Horus, and Egyptian gods. An Egyptian god. See the Book of the Law. Ram, Job 3:32-2. I mean, like that's not really saying much about Ram. I'm just saying. Ramesses, a pharaoh, a district of Egypt. Oh, so there was the Ramesses district. Oh, maybe it's just been a confusion all along. Raphael, God's healing. 1, archangel associated with Tifereth, with the sun, with the east, and with air. 2, angel ruling Mercury and Wednesday. Wand, wands. See Makel, Makeloth. I will see Makel. Where is Q in the alphabet? Makel, wand. Makeloth, wands. tarot suit associated with fire and with yod of tetragrammaton. So we knew that, but I guess this is just the Hebrew for those words. Interesting. So this is a Hebrew dictionary at the same time as it is also a Kabbalah dictionary. Issachar, a tribe of Israel associated with Cancer. Iyar, the 8th month of the Jewish calendar, April-May, corresponding roughly to the period when the sun is in Taurus. I'll have to look up the Jewish calendar to see how it differs. It sounds like it's a bit more astrological in component. It might be one of the reasons why they keep on deferring, why occultists keep on going back to Hebrew and Jewish stuff, is because if it really is astrologically corresponding automatically, then it would be easier to use. I'm not saying there's not other reasons to use it. I just like people keep on asking, like, why is it that, occultists need to do this? And sometimes occultists really can't come up with an answer other than, well, that's what we do. Gur Arie, lion's whelp. A gur is a whelp. Good to know. Gusian, the 11th spirit of the Goetia, demon by day, of the second decadent of Cancer. I found a mistake. I feel good about me. Someone was not looking at this very closely. Let me look and see another entry to kind of compare. Yep. So they have Glaciolabulus back here, and they have the sigil of the seal of Glaciolabulus. They call it a sigil. And the thing is, that's great, and it's where it should be. But if we go forward, we will find that Gusian here. They say this is the seal of Gusian. This right here, that's Glaciolabulus, and you can even tell because it has the words Glaciolabulus around the whole thing. In fact, you know what? I bet the reason why Mathers put the words around the seals was so that you wouldn't do this. If you just have the seals around unlabeled, you're going to get them mixed up with each other. But if you always have the name of the demon around the seal in English letters, theoretically, one would never make this mistake. And yet, they did. But I think it's talked about how there's not actually a reason for the letters to be there's no reason for the seals to be in a circle, and there's no reason for the letters to be around the seal. But I think that there is a practical reason, which is if you've got a big pile of seals, you've got all these seals around, then if you have it written around the seal who it is, you never have to go double check that. Can you imagine how many times you'll double check that? I know it's possible to memorize 72 different seals, but do you really want to leave it up to memory whether or not you got the right phone number? So yeah, I never really thought about that, but organization is very important. Sometimes I think that we mistake ancient cultures as organization and sketch marks and scaffolding and structure for religious stuff or spiritual stuff, and we simply didn't realize that they were just putting in guidelines so they could write well. There's just so many little markings and stuff that people try to interpret as being spiritual that sometimes I'm like, what if it was just practical at the time and it means a lot less than we think it means? All right, back to entries. Hamaliel, Archangel of Virgo. Hamaur HaGadol, the greater light, i.e. the sun. Hamaur HaKatan, the lesser light, i.e. the moon. Both of these are from Genesis chapter 1, verse 16. Hanael, angel of Capricorn, sometimes given as the archangel or angel of Venus, which are, however, Haniel and Anael, respectively. I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure Venus is Haniel, so there we're in agreement here. Spelling matters. Hananiah, original name of Shadrach. Haniel, archangel associated with Netzah and with Venus. That's one of the reasons, one of the ways that you can actually end up memorizing these is that if you just do enough Kabbalah, eventually you're always going to remember that Haniel goes with Netzah goes with Venus. There's like, it's going to get somewhere deep in your neurons, those associations, and hopefully useful as opposed to just like having that there for no reason. Sometimes is my suspicion. Harak, 59th name of Shem Hamfarash. Shem Ha-Mepharash, associated with 5th Kenance of Taurus. I just for some reason have always just kind of said the Shem Hamfarash instead of Shem Ha-Mepharash, but I always see it kind of spelled as one word instead of separated out here with dashes, and the separating and the dashes make it a lot easier to pronounce. Harab Serap or Harab Serapel. See Oreb Zorak. I am curious, does it come down to a matter of spelling preference, which one you use, and it's the only difference between those two terms is just that it's a different spelling for the same thing? Oreb Zorak, the Raven of Dispersion. Yep. Clip off of Netzah. Variously given as Arab Zorak Crowley, Harab Sarapel, Mathers. Those two need to get in a boxing match one day. Just reincarnate them into Rock'em Sock'em robots. Garab Serek Regardi and Harab Sarap White. So great. Glad we're all agreed on how to say that one. I don't know how much I think a lot of the Kelly pot gets weighed in on by largely Western scholars in the last 100 or 150 years. And that I'm not sure how much work is done in it by any actual Jewish scholars. Like, it's one of the things that makes it difficult to compare Kabbalah and Kelly pot, or not Kabbalah and Kelly pot, but the Sephiroth and the Kelly pot. Is that the materials are just so completely different. There's a lot more Judaism in the Sephiroth, to be quite honest, and the Kelly pot is like, I wouldn't even call it Christian. It's like Bible fan fiction. I'm not saying fan fiction is bad. I actually think it's really important, but they're just the two are so separate and different. All right, Orobus, the 55th spirit of the Goetia, demon by night of the first decadent of Libra, according to the Aram soulless demon of the second Kenance of Aquarius, and spelled in Hebrew thusly. Prince commanding 20 legions, appears as a horse, assumes human form upon command. Powers, tells fortunes, gives dignities, prelacies, and with the favor of friends and foes, gives true answers concerning divinity and the creation of the world. Very faithful to the exorcist, will not allow him to be tempted by any spirit. Not allowed. Othniel, first judge of Israel. Othoth, signs, tokens. Atzar, treasure. Outer planets. Oh boy, here's going to be an opinion. This is going to be quite an opinion too. Outer planets. In my opinion, the three outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, have no place in an esoteric system such as the Kabbalah. Their addition to the tradition makes no more sense than discarding fire, air, water, and earth in favor of the 92 plus elements of the periodic table. Oh, rebelling against science. Efforts to shoehorn new scientific data into an established esoteric symbology are misguided attempts to force mysticism to conform to the details of the physical universe. Oh, I cannot tell you how much I disagree with this. There is nothing symbolized by these planets that was absent from the human psyche before their discovery, or that was not already adequately symbolized by existing structures. Also disagree. Even in astrology, attempts to work additional planets into the system of rulerships and dignities have made hash out of the elegance and symmetry of the older scheme. In Kabbalah, the absurdity of the whole approach is exemplified by the rather silly equation of Pluto equals Kether, i.e. revolutionary change equals undifferentiated oneness. From planet Earth, these outer planets are invisible to the naked eye. They should remain so in esoteric thought. Zing! Um, I disagree incredibly, and I've seen enough in the reason I disagree is not because of an opinion. It's because I've seen enough established knowledge involving these outer planets, these farther out planets and asteroids and other bodies, that I believe that there were civilizations before us that actually were able to see Uranus and Neptune, and definitely have some sort of. I think Pluto is. I don't think that the object that we discovered as Pluto is actually the object that astrology is pointing to as Pluto. They often refer to that as not just Pluto but primum mobile, which is the prime mover, and that is a reference to a theory that there is a very large object in the solar system that is responsible for some of the mysterious movements and counterweights that are happening in the movements of our planets. And these are things that people come up with because they're looking at where the actual stars in the sky are going. So the only thing that would have prevented, like, there's nothing that could have prevented them from actually seeing Neptune and Uranus and Pluto in previous times. The only thing that was really in the way was making a big telescope, and that's simpler than you think. The reason we wouldn't have evidence of it by now is because it is hard for things like lenses to survive much time, and you could be using, the thing is, you wouldn't mirrors. So there's lenses and there's mirrors. The mirror is the thing that I think would have been key. I think they could have made a big mirror big enough to see these planets in, like, thousands of years ago or whatever. The thing is, you can actually make these mirrors out of, like, you don't have to make it silver, you don't have to make it glass. You can make a mirror out of just a big piece of metal. So the mirror that originally cited Neptune or Uranus was actually solid iron. It was a huge piece of polished iron. We've had access to iron since the Iron Age. You just have to get a big chunk of it. After that, I think the other component is just getting to a really high mountaintop. There's a big tie between religious prophetic figures and mountaintops, and I think them going up to the mountain is also them sighting stars that usually can't be seen further down to the ground because of light pollution and such. So that's my big piece on outer planets and astrology associations. I don't think that it's a matter of us adding new stuff onto the system. I think that they were always in the system, and that we lost them along the way. We were no longer able to see Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, various asteroids, other dwarf planets, and such. We no longer understood what their equivalent components were in the systems that we were using, and then we chalked those up to esotericism and spirituality, or we simply discarded them because we didn't understand their use. But there's no reason to think that we haven't discovered these planets before. We just don't have any evidence left of that prior discovery. So it's all theoretical. Well, I say no evidence, but like I said previously, there's a lot of, if you go back through old astronomy, old astrology, like hundreds of years back, thousands of years back, you see a lot of mentions of stuff that, like, we didn't think they had knowledge of back then. And so it really depends on what they had access to in certain periods and how much knowledge we have of what they had access to. Sometimes we have no knowledge at all of what they had access to, and no knowledge at all of, like, how much technology has been lost since whatever it is that they were doing. It's also just very strange to see somebody say that force mysticism to conform to the details of the physical universe. I'm sorry, but if mysticism does not conform to the details of the physical universe, the mysticism is incorrect. The physical universe, that's what we live in. The esoteric, mystical deity that was supposed to create all this stuff created stuff in matter, physical matter. If that's not supposed to mean anything, then what's the fuck the point? So just like force mysticism to conform to the details of the physical universe. That's what you do. Mysticism is our attempt to figure out what's going on. You have to conform it to your understanding and knowledge of what is happening in the physical universe, because your understanding and knowledge of what is happening in the physical universe is the only thing you actually have. Every thought that you have in your head that is thought by a neuron is thought by physical matter. That is physical matter thinking about itself. Esotericism and mysticism and all of that is just here to help physical matter think about itself. Think about that. Kalali, General Universal Collective. Kali, 1. Utensil, instrument, tool. 2. 18th name of Shem Ha-Meferash, associated with 6 Kinans of Libra. Give me just a moment. All right, another random opening. I know I've been going into like side stuff and rants and all, but I just have a lot of knowledge and opinions on these subjects. I apparently disagree with the writer of this book, which would not be the first time that ever happened. I do appreciate the book, though. I think it's a pretty good collection of different pieces of knowledge. I think it's pretty interesting for someone to say no, we should use the more out of date stuff and not use the updated stuff because you want to see the stuff that he's arguing against. I have it right here. It's this. This here is one of the books actually adding new planets to the system. Oh my god! Oh my gasping gosh! Hiram E. Butler, Solar Biology, a Scientific Method. This is astrology, and it does try to bring in the new planets that they're discovering into astrology. You actually have Uranus here in the 7-point star at the top because they had discovered Uranus in the late 1800s, and that was kind of changing everything. They were like, where does this fit into astrology? And some people said it doesn't. The thing is, we had a 7-planet system for a long time. People got used to it. It's possible to update these things. And I know that the 7 planets corresponding to a whole bunch of other things is really useful and really helpful, but it turns out that it's not going to be the thing that you always do. Like, you can use it whenever it makes sense to use it, but I mean, not every system, no system is going to last forever. Systems don't exist in the physical world. Like, the periodic table doesn't actually exist as a force that makes elements stay within certain confines. The periodic table is humanity's attempt to organize the matter that they found. And there's nothing about the periodic table that actually says that fire, earth, air, and water don't exist and aren't elements. The periodic table of the elements is organizing elements according to a certain logic. You will not find fire, air, earth, and water in the periodic table of elements because it is a different listing of a different type of element. It's a different kind of organization. But fire, water, air, and earth are present in the periodic table of elements. They talk about phases of matter. The periodic table of elements talks about like what elements, what the atoms, the very particles of matter are composed of. And they're not really concerned too much with dryness or wetness, but they are concerned with isotopes and whether or not they're stable or unstable. And like that's a part of the elements themselves that fire, earth, air, water, they don't really go into. Those are just like types of a certain basic type of matter. You could actually compare them to the phases of matter. And I think that's actually the original intent of them. You have fire, plasma, earth, solid, water, liquid, and air, gas. Like it's very simple. So whenever you have other things that matter is doing or other considerations for matter, you don't use those. They're not always applicable. It's just a system. So like to say that the system can't be updated because it has to be more esoteric and more philosophical is really weird because the entire point of a system is that it's just our mechanism for understanding the world. If we don't update our mechanism for understanding the world, then we're not actually going to gain a new understanding ever. We're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. Welcome to Samsara. So, okay, this is the Hebrew section, which, like, so by the way, it's technically, I can read just as much in here because there's plenty of English. It's just that it leads with the Hebrew, like you look it up by the Hebrew in the back. So I don't really have a need for that in the moment, but I could still read it out loud and basically just go by the Hebrew alphabet instead of the English alphabet. And I'm kind of curious if there's anything here that's different. Mem, 13th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Meod, very. Mea, 100. Maor, light, luminary. Maznaim, scales, Libra. Malkunothat, guardian of the 23rd tunnel of Set. Malthus, goetic demon number 39. Marax, goetic demon number 21. Marbus, goetic demon number 5. Mayorath, lights or luminaries. The Mayorath sound like some kind of Lord of the Rings elves. Mavadil, to unite. No, Mavadil means to divide. It's the opposite. Meba, 14th name of Shem HaMepharash. Mabe, 55th name of Shem HaMepharash. Take that. Mebahel, angel of the second Kenance and night angel, the second Kenance of Libra and the night angel of the Two of Swords. Okay, so toward in the Hebrew section, they start abbreviating things here. Like in it's the second Kenance or the second P. Wait, yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at it backwards. It's Q. Second Kenance Libra, T2Q sign of Libra. So they're saving room by doing that. And I can't tell you how many times stuff like this is jotted down in old grimoires, and it's like, what the heck does that mean? And it just means something like this. They were just writing it really briefly because they didn't have enough space. Let's see. Morgosh, moral, felt or sensed. Muriel, angel of Cancer. Murmus, goetic demon number 54. Mevshakal, intellectual, Aramaic. Muskal, idea, concept, modern Hebrew. Maveth, death. Mazohir, illuminating, radiant. Mazik, demon, injurer. Mezikim. Oh, like Mazikim. Or Mazikin. Yeah, Mazikin is a class of demons. That's right. Mezikim is demons or injurers. Mazikin is a class of demons. So Mazikin is also a character in The Sandman. She is the right-hand woman of Lucifer. So that's written by Neil Gaiman, who is a Jew. So like I really like seeing what he brings into the Sandman that is from Jewish mythology, is from Judaism, because I've seen so many like Gentiles adapt Judaism to various things. Like seeing a Jew actually adapt Judaism is like, for one, I'm really glad to see it happen. and like, I don't know. I'm glad that we're all kind of like playing together sometimes instead of getting in fights. Let's see. Madim, Mars. Midian. It's, Midian is Midian. Okay. Mahaziel, demon prince of earth. Mehetabel, wife of Hadar, a king of Edom. Mahalalel, son of Kainan and father of Jared. Maher Shalal Hashbaz, a son of Isaiah. Moab is Moab. Moab. Loa, throat. Hmm. Lafkersiax, guardian of the 22nd tunnel of Set. I have the tunnels of Set somewhere as like a printed resource or something. To take a look at it. Terpsichore, Greek muse of dancing and choral song, corresponds to Netza. Oh, I didn't know they had Greek muse correspondences. It makes sense. See, that's the thing, is that we've got the 9 muses, though. So if you have the 9 muses, then that's going to correspond to the 10 planets plus Apollo the sun, which, again, means that the outer planets correspond to the Kabbalah. Never going to get over that. Tetragrammaton, the holy ineffable name of God, Yahweh, Jehovah, etc., the name of 4 letters. The 4 consonants of Yod-He-Vod-He correspond to the 4 elements, the 4 worlds, ad infinitum, etc. Yad, fire, Atziluth, nobility, father. He, water, Bria, creation, mother. Vav, air, Yetzirah, formation, son. He, earth, Asaya, action, daughter. Tevet, the 4th month of the Jewish calendar, December, January, corresponding roughly to the period when the sun is in Capricorn. Thagirion, see Tageriron. Like, is this like a Targaryen? Like, is this a Game of Thrones reference? I know it's not, because it's way before that, but it definitely sounded good. See Tageriron. I do want to see Tageriron. Let me go see Tageriron. The Hagglers, Kleepoth of Tiferet. Ah, okay, that's where I recognize that from. Variously given as Thagiriron. Really, I thought it was Thagirion. Thagiriron. Cruelly. Tagaririm, Mathers. Tagiriron, Regardi, or Togarini. Wait. Did I just misspell this all this time, my entire life, misread it? I'm going to go look at the other book that I have for Kelly Pot so I can be sure of just how long I've been spelling Thagiriron, if that is its name. So, bookshelf right here. Give me a moment. Where is my Kelly Pot? Here we go. Thomas Carlson, Kabbalah, Kleefoth, and Goetic Magic. This is kind of hard to find, I think. I think that it went out of print. But at least get a little bit of compare and contrast here with, it's like, where do you put your tree life? Where's real life? Just need a list. So they have Tagiririm here in this list, but they changed that later. I think he flip-flops between which reference he uses. Here we go. Thagirion. I was right. It's Thagirion. And he's got Thagiriron. There's already been some mistakes in Godwin's Cabalistic Encyclopedia that I've found. So I'm going to go with every other place I've seen it before and not this one place. In fact, let me look up Thagirion. Just to see what it says this one is supposed to be. Thagiriron. See Tagiriron. He's Thagiriron. That's That's what he's standing for. Oh, says here's an interesting illustration of Adam Kadmon from Kabbalah Denu Dada by Nor von Rosenroth, Frankfurt, 1684. I just think that's a really interesting illustration. And I appreciate it. Olam HaKlipoth, World of Shells, World of Demons. See, Klipoth. Kellypot. It's really hard to figure out how to pronounce something on the fly whenever it's like I try to stick to the regular pronunciation, like the basically just the good pronunciation of Hebrew. And it's so easy to stick to English types of rules. So it's like, there's Atzilut. It should be Atzilut, right? Even if it's TH at the end, it should be Ut. But, I want to say Atziluth. And, in the grand scheme of things, it probably doesn't even matter what I said. Excuse me. Pardon me, I wanted to do some streaming hours. I didn't know I was coming down with some sinus stuff. Gur Aria, Lion's Whelp. We said that one before, but it was in the Hebrew section. Now I found it in the English section. Cancer, Sarton, Crab. Corresponds to Cheth and the 18th path. Archangel, Muriel. Angel, Pakiel. Lord of Triplicity by day, Ra-Adar. Lord of Triplicity by night, Akel. Angel ruling fourth house, Kael. Angel of first decanet, Mathravash. Angel of first Kinans, Aol. Ayoel. AOL. Angel of second Kinans, Chabuya. Angel of second decanate, Rahadetz. Angel of third Kinans, Rahael. Angel of fourth Kinans, Yebamaya. Angel of third decanate, Alinkir. Angel of fifth Kinans, Hayayel. Angel of sixth Kinans, Mevamia. Klipoth, Kellypot. Shichiriran. Riran. I am seeing Thagiriran. This one's called the Black Ones, and Thagirion is called the Hagglers, but maybe it was the Haggling Ones, because that Riran there that they have in common probably is, if you put OTH at the end, it like usually means like a collective multiple of something, like, the Sephiroth. I think that Riran here is, or Iriran here is doing a similar function. I wonder if I could look it up here. Like Iriran, like, let's see, it's like Iriran or Riran. Let's see what's in the back. Or no, wait, it should be in the front because I'm looking it up in English. Whee! Hey, at least I am on the verge of maybe learning something. All right. Let's look up Iriran first, and then I will look up Iran. So there's no Iriran. There's Iran, see Barzel. Barzel. No, that's probably iron. Yeah, it's got to be iron. Let's try Riran then, since it obviously doesn't have Iran. Iran. Not here. No, wait, I'm looking at it wrong. Still not here. I'm going to have to look this up later and see if maybe I can figure out a little bit of... I honestly, at some point, if I just like took some Hebrew lessons, it probably wouldn't do me too bad. So I kind of interrupted myself going through all this stuff that's in Cancer, but I'm going to kind of skip it for now. it's basically listing off all the goetic demons that are underneath Cancer, which, you know, it's going to be like 1/12 of them because all of the goetic demons each correspond to zodiac sign, and there's 72. So, you know, divided by 12, that's what you're going to get. Candlestick, see menorah. What is your entry for menorah? Let's just go over there. Menorah, candlestick, specifically the 7-branched candlestick in the temple. All right, so nothing I could have, I already knew that. Mendel, angel of 6 keynotes of Capricorn, and angel by night of the 4 of Pentacles. Sign, so they have a sigil of Mendel here too. Associated biblical verse, Psalms chapter 28, verse 8. Also spelled Mendiel, or Monado. So I think I'm going to wrap this one up. I've read out this for a little bit. I've said some opinions. It's really good, by the way, to go through your resource material every now and then and just read through it instead of only looking up stuff whenever you need to, because me finding out that Thagirion is spelled different in here than any other resource I found, but is consistent within itself, so it seems to think it has a reason to do that. I'm not sure if I would have found that. I might have found it eventually whenever I was doing something on Thagirion, but it was nice to kind of find it out here. So just check through your resources. Always question what it is that you've got. There's no reason not to. You can always run it by another source, and you always learn something by doing that. So I do think it is a book worth having. There's probably another updated version beyond what it is that I have here. This one is the 3rd edition from 1994. And, you know, I'm kind of curious. Let me see. I'm on Amazon in another window. Godwin's Cabalistic Encyclopedia. I want to see what's the most recent version that they have. 2017. I see one from 2017 right here. Looks like it's a 2002 edition that I have. So they came out with a 2002 update of this. And then there was another update in 2017. And I mean, I don't know if it'll be worth me getting that, but if you, because I don't know if it's really worth updating my source that I have, but that would probably be the best version for people to get, especially if the book is hard to find. If you can find a copy of this and it's a good price, just get it. I don't think you need to worry about which edition it is. They're not really going to find out anything new about most of this stuff. This stuff doesn't really get updated so much, especially whenever the people who are maintaining it are so determined to not even add the most recent planets that the science discovers into the system. Eternal beef. All right. Later, y'all.